So, what happens when a king's reign casts a 55-year shadow over his entire kingdom? We're about to dive into a story of power, rebellion, and the really dangerous consequences that unfold when a son chooses to follow his father's dark path instead of his grandfather's righteous one.
55 years. That's a long time. In fact, it's the longest reign of any king of Judah. But, a long rule isn't always a good one. Sometimes it's just a long time to make things a whole lot worse. Let's dig into how it all went so wrong.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the long reign of this one king and see how he just deliberately tore down his own father's legacy. As you can imagine, that leads to a terrifying prophecy of disaster. From there, we'll see if his son manages to break the pattern or if this cycle of kings just keeps getting worse.
Our story kicks off with a boy named Manasseh, who becomes king of Judah when he's just 12 years old. But here's the thing, he wasn't just any kid king. He was the son of a really celebrated and righteous ruler, King Hezekiah.
Right, so his dad, Hezekiah, had spent years basically cleaning house, tearing down all those local shrines, and getting the kingdom's spiritual life back on track. Manasseh inherited a kingdom that was heading in the right direction. The stage was set for him to continue that great work. The only question was, what was he going to do with it?
Well, Manasseh didn't just stumble or make a few bad calls. No, the records show that he launched a systematic, deliberate campaign to undo every single thing his father had worked for.
And this wasn't just some minor policy shift. We're talking a complete 180. Everything his father, Hezekiah, had torn down, Manasseh rebuilt. He didn't just forget about his father's faith, he actively replaced it. He put up altars to foreign gods like Baal and Asherah, and even started worshiping the stars. It was a total and absolute rejection of everything his father stood for.
And the answer? Oh, it goes way further than you'd think. He took this rebellion right into the very heart of the kingdom's spiritual life. I mean, he took it to another level. He built altars to other gods, not just out in the hills, but inside the sacred temple in Jerusalem itself. He consulted with mediums and spiritists, and in what has to be the most horrifying act of all, the text says he sacrificed his own son in fire. And to top it all off, he put a carved idol right there in the temple, the ultimate act of defiance. And here's the ripple effect of all this. This wasn't just about the king's personal beliefs. His actions corrupted the entire nation. The source text makes this absolutely stunning claim that he led the people to become even more wicked than the nations that had been driven out of the land centuries before. Think about that.
So, as you can imagine, this level of corruption did not go unnoticed. The prophets at the time delivered a divine judgment, a prophecy of what was coming as a direct result of everything Manasseh had done.
Wow. I mean, that is one of the most vivid and just devastating prophecies you'll ever read. The image is so clear, a dish being wiped completely clean and then flipped over, empty. It's a promise of total annihilation for Jerusalem, a wiping of the slate because of how corrupt it had become.
But it wasn't just about religion. The record adds this just chilling detail. He was also a brutal tyrant who filled Jerusalem from end to end with innocent blood. So this was a reign defined by both spiritual decay and ruthless, bloody violence.
So, after 55 years, Manasseh dies. His son, Amon, takes the throne. Now, the kingdom has a chance for a fresh start, right? But the big question is, whose legacy is Amon going to follow? His wicked father's or his righteous grandfather's? This chart really tells a story all by itself, doesn't it? Manasseh gets 55 years on the throne. His son, Amon, gets just 2. So what on earth could happen in 2 short years to cut a king's reign short so drastically?
Well, the answer is painfully simple. Amon didn't change a thing. He totally ignored the prophecies and walked straight into his father's shadow. The text says he followed completely the ways of his father, doubling down on the very same practices that had earned the kingdom such a dire warning.
And his reign just implodes into violence almost right away. His own officials plot against him and assassinate him right there in his palace, but the bloodshed doesn't stop. The people then rise up and kill the assassins. And out of all that chaos, a new king is chosen, Amon's young son, Josiah. So, after almost 60 years of corruption and violence, the kingdom is in an absolute crisis. The throne is unstable, the nation is broken, and this is where the cycle of kings hits a really dramatic turning point. I mean, just think about this succession for a second. You have 55 years of systematic evil under Manasseh.
Then a quick 2-year reign of just more of the same under his son Amon, which ends in his murder. And now the throne belongs to Josiah, who is an 8-year-old boy.
An 8-year-old kid inherits a kingdom that has been steeped in violence and idolatry for 57 years, and it's living under a prophecy of total destruction. So we're left with this huge question. After his father and grandfather led the nation so far astray, can this child king possibly be the one to finally break the cycle?